Welcome to the fourth season of Heard Afros Audio Interview Series. I'm your host, Talib Jasir, and my guest today is Tonya McKenzie. How are you today?
Talib, I'm thankful to be here with you. So glad that we get to see each other.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to it. We've had some recent conversations, and I think it came to both of our attention that this is going to be like the second time now after all these years of really getting to know each other a little bit better. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm learning a bit more about you and what you do and how you support creators like myself and the folks that are in the communities that we serve. So let's get started. Introduce yourself for the people. Who are you and what do you do day to day?
I am your chief controller. I help people control their message, control their reputation, and control what people say about them when they are not in the room. What that means is I run Sand and Shores. We are a PR and sports media firm. We help people tell their story and help people understand who they are through their impact. We help people get earned media, also get prepared for those earned media opportunities. So whether that is speaker training or media training, making sure that we're staying on message and that people understand where we're coming from and they don't let someone else control their narrative. I think that's the most important piece.
Yeah, I can see how that could happen quite a bit. I can attest to the fact that people will assume your life without knowing much of anything about it until you're able to share it with them. It's important to be able to create and craft your own narrative as authentically as possible, of course, but it's important for people to understand that their narrative matters and it coming directly from you matters the most.
Yeah, and it's not just with individuals. I also do work with organizations. So I'm also a LA County Commissioner for Alcohol and Other Drugs. What that means is we solve a lot of the problems here in LA County in regards to alcohol and drug legislation, finding solutions, being preventative, all those things. But with organizations like that, any nonprofits you guys might be a part of, it's how are you making an impact? What are you doing in your community? Being able to tell that story again and craft that message is important. Also, being prepared for the things that can come at you, because we all know that good trouble comes with battling bad narratives. So preparing yourself to be able to deal with those types of things too are important. And I feel like in this moment that we're in right now, it's especially essential that we recognize it and we know how to deal.
So how did you get into the work and which one came first, the organizations or the individual?
You know, I've been doing this work for almost 30 years now. It started in college for the most part. I became a senator at Cal State Northridge.
Okay.
I don't even think I recognize the impact that someone that is elected, even on college campus, that kind of impact that had. We started doing work at a time where Northridge, if for anybody that remembers the big earthquake in Los Angeles, the whole campus had fallen down. So I was actually a part of helping to rebuild that, meaning we got to craft the message on what we were selling to the Northridge community. But because it was a commuter campus, meaning it's a state campus, but it's around a lot of homes and housing, we had to sell to them what we were doing with that money that was coming in. So that also means you got to get buy-in. How are you getting buy-in on the things that you are doing? We worked on that for some years, but along with that, this is the trigger point. There were Republicans on campus back then. They would offer money to be a part of the Republican Party. I learned back then. Okay, and for those of y'all that don't know my big age, it starts with a 5, okay? Even back then, they were very persuasive with the dollars and cents on bringing people into their party. Obviously, there was no MAGA then, but understanding what that meant in that moment was incredibly powerful. And I was a little naive because I just assumed everybody makes good decisions for everybody. So I would have other folks being like, stay away from them because they tell you this, but what they mean is that, right? Understanding, being able to sift through information and understand what people are saying. So that started back in college. That was even before, people were really crafting their careers, and getting civically engaged was something that was taught to us at a very early age. We had some professors that were very active in the Black community in Los Angeles. So everyone knows about the riots and things that have happened in Compton. Those were our professors.
Mm.
So understanding even back then how impactful your work and even your existence is, was bred into us back in my collegiate days. So going on into my professional career, I was doing PR and marketing and agency work, but I was also working for the YMCA, which is what? Community work. So they almost happen at the same time for me because no matter what I was doing professionally, the community and impact work was always there.
Got it. Got it. And so you feel like, because what you do in college doesn't necessarily mean it translates into life work and the work that you do in your
It,
career.
you know what? It doesn't, but it
Mm-hmm.
should. And I actually just had my own podcast with a professor that I had back then. We talked about that. The things that we do in college should find its way into what we do in our career, but that doesn't always translate. Part of that problem, though, is administration. Is the school making sure that they have people that are helping you understand that the career that you're trying to build should have resonance in the work that you're doing in college?
Mm-hmm.
It should. You know what I'm saying? That's what you're there for. You're there to learn and be able to implement those things into your career. But even if it doesn't, the things that you learn doing whatever you do in college, you should take into your career.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm a public policy, urban studies major, and as you can see, I'm doing none of that right now.
You are building community.
I am building community. I'm also a social justice and Africana minor, double minored in that. So yeah, it all informs my work and my life, but it's not my career. And the reason why I asked you that question is that there is this point in life where you say, this is it. This is what I'm meant to do. This is who I'm meant to be and what I want to do for the rest of my life. And that sometimes doesn't happen in the beginning. And so you've been tracking from college and this is your life's work. How did you know that this is what I really want to do?
I ain't gonna lie. I didn't. I still, for a long time, maybe into I would even say into my 40s, because you always think, well, it's not too late for me to go do the thing I wanted to do. Truth be told, I wanted to be an attorney. My mom passed away and I had two younger sisters and we raised them. They were 5 and 7. I was in my 20s when that happened. Life happens to us. And the things that you think you want to do or you're supposed to be doing, that might get derailed. However, the impact that I wanted to make has never been derailed. So then it comes down to, how do I want to impact the world with the time and the experience and the opportunities that I have? Understanding how to pivot, but utilizing your life experiences and your drive and your work ethic to be able to do that. That's important, and understanding that, because, listen, not everyone knows how to pivot. For some people, it's very like, this didn't happen, I'm done, or I'm depressed, or I'm useless. There are a lot of people that live through social media and whatever's going on down their timeline, what their life is supposed to look like. But one of the most important things to me has always been impact. It's always, how am I leaving this world better than I got it? And if I can't do it the way that I initially intended, what else am I left with?
Yeah.
What can I use that I already have to then impact this world?
Absolutely. I agree wholeheartedly. And there's a quote by James Baldwin I put in my first book. I'm not going to be able to verbatim it right now, but essentially he was saying that we all have a duty, a responsibility to leave this world better than it was when we came in. And that's impact, right? In a nutshell. And so it's really dope, and it resonates so well when someone is on that same mindset. Who did I touch? How did I contribute? What work did I leave behind? And it's beyond even legacy. Who did I impact? Whose lives did I touch, move, and inspire, and or change? And that's really important. I love the work that you do, especially staying with your roots. You've been in LA. What made you really dig in and say, this is home and this is the work that I want to do and these are the people that I want to impact the most?
Well, I'm from the Bay Area, right? So I'm from the Bay. I went to school in LA. So where I became an adult. And of course, that's your first time being completely independent, figuring out how you paying your rent and all the things. And then I moved back to the Bay Area because my mom passed. So I was raising the girls. But my husband had an opportunity out here. He's in tech. Most people don't know that Silicon Valley is obviously the Bay Area, San Jose, where I'm born and raised. Well, LA's hub is Silicon Beach. So we had always said we would never move to LA. We're like, we are not raising kids in LA. But if the check is big enough, you're going to go.
Yeah.
So we decided if we were going to do it here, how were we going to do it? What was that going to look like? So having some goals. I think we have a problem with letting life happen to us instead of making life that we want. So deciding off top what this is going to look like and how are we going to do everything that we need to do to make it look like that.
Absolutely.
It was always going to be impact for me. For him, it was technology and the corporate life. That was goal. He eventually wound up leaving corporate life and became an entrepreneur himself. And that's fine. You can adjust, but you have to at least have some guidelines.
Yeah.
Once we got here, I, again, started using what I already have to pave this path that I wanted. One of the most significant things that happened to me when I was in the Bay working for the YMCA, I became an associate executive director. And I was doing a lot of community work. I got appointed to my first commission. So I was a youth commissioner, appointed by Supervisor Federal Glover, who is legendary in the Bay Area. I was in my 20s, late 20s at the time. I didn't really recognize how important that was until probably the last 10 years, that in my 20s, I was appointed to a commission that helped with Contra Costa County in the Bay Area. So coming here to Los Angeles, just doing the work that I innately find rewarding and profitable, I was assigned and appointed to a commission by Supervisor Janice Hahn. Now, anybody that knows anything about LA knows that Kenneth Hahn is a very important figure here. Janice is his daughter who is carrying out his legacy. I say all that to say, being able to understand impact and be true to who you are leads you down a path where you're able to fulfill that and not fight it. And once I became a commissioner for Janice Hahn, I look back on my commissioner appointment in the Bay Area. I was like, I've been doing this work since I was in my 20s. I had absolutely no idea how impactful that work was. And I'm a part of a legacy for someone else that is legacy in the Bay Area. You know what I'm saying? I think one of our shortcomings is, and this is what I find very empowering in public relations, sometimes you do have to take inventory of all of your successes and wins to recognize that I am worthy of whatever comes next. I'm worthy of the goals that I've set. I'm worthy of the rewards that come with accomplishing these goals and impacting the world the way that I have. A lot of people are very humble about their wins. That's the other thing. You know, I sit down with other entrepreneurs, business executives, and I ask them, like, who are you and why should I care? Many times they don't know how to answer that.
Yeah.
But from the outside, I can read them a list of accomplishments and reasons why I should care. I think as a society, especially Black people, we've been humbled so much that we don't always see how much we've done, how far we've come, and the impact we've made. So I definitely champion people owning their wins and acknowledging the journey that they've taken and the impact that they've left.
Yeah, it's so important. And I received that. I've been a dual certified coach since 2016, and I work with creators and entrepreneurs. And I resonate with what you said earlier about the fact that people don't even recognize where their intention and attention go. That's how you create the life that you want. I'm like, we're literally creating the worlds from our head or the businesses from our imagination. And then we look at our lives and I don't know how to create that. I don't know what am I supposed to do here.
What am I doing?
Is if you can create that, then you can create the life that you want as well.
You
Of
can.
course, there's so many impediments in all of these deliberate acts and socialization, but that also, any belief that doesn't serve or support you is going to control how you move and the
100%.
beliefs that you have. So I really appreciate that. And I had a friend of mine after I ended the 7 year of the conference, and he's like urgently wanting to get on a call with me. I'm like, okay, what do you want, bro? What's going on? He said, I need you to think about something that I know you aren't, because you just stay in motion. You did an almost decade-long conference in multi-cities, independent of any big organization, any conglomerate. Like, you did that. And I just need you to sit with that for a minute. And I was like, oh, thank you for breaking it down, because you know that I wasn't, right? And so it is so important that people are able to, one, acknowledge the work that's been done. But as you said, thinking about all of your life, that's the whole story of The Alchemist, is that you're able to just pick up and be like, oh, this happened. And all of it was this trajectory of my life that I wasn't even really paying attention to, because I was so focused on getting to where I needed to be, or where I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
So it is so important. The reason why I bring all that up is that what this podcast is about, the show is about, is creators and entrepreneurs and people who are doing the work. And sometimes all of the stuff, the external noise and the external measurement, just completely detaches us from who we actually are. So what you do is important, being someone who can pull out those narratives and those stories and get people to understand who they actually are. So I really appreciate that. And your slogan is so strong. It says, control the narrative or the streets will. Where did that come from, and what do you mean by it?
Over the last 10 years, I would say, when I write my book, I think my book is almost 10 years old. I feel like Eminem taught me a very strong lesson, which is get your dirt out there before someone else does, and control how it's out there, right? Many people shy away from the things that they believe are embarrassing or a deterrent from people working with them. What he did was put all his dirt out into the world. He controlled his own narrative. So you can't use any of that against him. Now he can just do the work. Now I can just rap. Now I can just impact. Now I can just work with Dre over here and do this thing. The work that I'm doing, I knew, because it is very political sometimes, I knew that someone would try to dig up my dirt and use that against me at some point. So I put it out there in a book myself. I talked about watching my mother get shot at the age of 5. I talked about being in a federal witness protection program. I talked about being a child in a prison for women with children with my mother. I talked about those things. So once someone decided they were going to try to dig up my dirt and use it against me, because there's a lot of people that don't look like me, that didn't like some of the spaces that I was being brought into, I'd already put it out. So they had nothing. You got nothing. I controlled the narrative, but they tried it. They tried me, and they always will. However, you control your own narrative. And that's worst case scenario, obviously. But if you know there are people that will try to hinder your path, that will try to hinder your success, that will try to taint your name, try to ruin your reputation, do it yourself. The disclosure of the information, of the incidents, of the feelings, do it yourself so you can control how it gets out there. And I use it now professionally because there are still so many people that have a hard time connecting. They have all the apps, they have all the accolades, but they're afraid of being human. They're afraid of their authenticity. Who you are is crafted by what you've been through. Your experiences are important. It makes you who you are. Everything that you have been through allows for you to connect with someone else, even if it's a mess. You let your mess be someone else's blessing. I almost use it in a way, when you're working with someone, you're working with creatives especially, they're trying to be as authentic as possible, and you're teaching this lesson that authenticity connects. No matter, no matter what AI generated mess you see on social media feeds, people want to connect with you. I have experienced people being afraid of allowing for their whole self to be shown. But leaving that in the shadows means you're also leaving opportunity to connect with someone that could elevate you, that can share your story, that can connect with you on a professional basis, that can connect with you on a personal basis. What are you hiding from? Most of the time, a lot of trauma and drama that people have gone through, it's youth-based. A lot of things happened when they were young, and they're still afraid of talking about that or dealing with that. Your mess is someone else's blessing. And if you're blocking their blessing, you are missing the opportunity to connect. I just tell them, I think you're being selfish. I think you blocking someone else's blessing by not sharing your lesson. And it's really hard when you're trying to navigate, oh, I'm just going to say this much, and then they'll hear that. Don't be fooled. People connect to authenticity, your whole story, your true story. Because here's the thing. You are not responsible for your trauma, but you are responsible for your healing. And part of that healing, a lot of times, is closing and letting go. So all of these things matter when we are talking about your narrative. You have to control your narrative through your honesty, through your authenticity, through your storytelling. And those are the things that will actually connect you to people that want to hear and need to hear your message.
Absolutely. I have this phrase that says your greatness isn't about you. Someone somewhere is waiting for you to show up so they too can come out of the shadows. And so when you think about this fear, and again, we have to always consider and always wrap it inside of how we've been socialized, educated, inherited values, all of this stuff that we get from our adults, our elders, but also inside of our society. And there's so much guilt and shame wrapped around things that you have no need to feel shame or guilt around, especially if things occurred to you during your childhood. But even as adults, when you are working to navigate the mess of the chaos and confusion that you were raised up in, even those actions are something that you can alchemize and transmute at some point and work through. And so we worry so much about how others will receive, accept, respect who we are as a people. Most people, first of all, ain't thinking about you. They think about their own mess, right? And the other thing is that if you damn if you do and you damn if you don't, then you might as well do it and allow space for whatever works, whatever happens in the process. Because that is the greatest opportunity for our society, is for people to stay quiet and be afraid and ashamed to show up, because that works. You just part of everybody else in the world, not someone who actually can make an impact on other people's lives. So yeah, it is important. And I thought when you went there with Eminem, one of the things that he's taught me is I am whatever I say I am. If I wasn't, then why would I say I am? So it's like, just the lesson here is that authenticity, that the highest vibration that we have, but also being and doing, because this world will convince you not to. This world will convince you to hide, for sure.
Absolutely. And it's painful. Listen, it's painful watching, especially creatives, hold back because their best creative product is going to come from their whole self. So if you're not controlling your narrative and you're afraid and you're holding back, you're not producing your best product. You can't.
Absolutely.
Because you're afraid somebody's going to see something in it that you find embarrassing or you're ashamed of, or even whether it's visual art, written art, it's a story, it's a video, everything you produce is a part of you. So if you're holding back, you're missing the opportunity to produce your best. And that's why we do the work. Produce our best to connect with others, to elevate stories and messages.
For sure. And when organizations, athletes, or rising leaders come to you, what's usually happening that made them realize they need PR or communication support?
I'm not connecting. I'm not connecting to my audience. Or they don't know who their audience is. Those are usually the biggest obstacles. I'm not connecting. My message isn't connecting. My work isn't finding itself in front of the people I need to see it. I'm not receiving feedback, accolades, interest in me and my work. And I don't know why. That's usually it. Nonprofits, for instance, we're doing great work, but no one knows about it. Why doesn't anybody know about it? This is where we go. Athletes. I'm a good person. I do good stuff. But no, who knows? I don't know. You should know.
Yeah.
How do we connect you, your story, your work to the people that need to hear it, see it, and react to it? And what are you holding back? Why isn't that happening?
Yeah, for sure. And when you think about your clients, whether it's organization or individual, it could be extrapolated to thinking about one person or your work in general. What has been like someone comes to you and then they're complete? They've been your client, they're complete with the work. What's your biggest reward in that?
Their story is told, and I was a part of extrapolating what was missing to make that happen, or helping to hurdle an obstacle that was making that happen. And then seeing the rewards of that. I would say, one of my favorite projects was being an associate executive director for the YMCA. When they came to me, we were about this big and we were being housed underneath a restaurant. So there was like a attic little area underneath a restaurant. And that was where the program was being housed. Like literally my desk was under a stairs. So I could hear people walking up and down those stairs. They didn't have budget. PR is the biggest ROI you're going to get. It's the most cost efficient way of getting coverage. Why is that? Because you can do it on your own. Honestly. When people ask what's the difference between marketing and PR, marketing is you telling people how amazing you are. PR is other people telling other people how amazing you are. So then it becomes the art of how do you get other people to tell other people how amazing you are. That's not marketing, that's PR. How do you do that? It's because you're doing good things. It's like when you share, I got these jeans, they fit right, they feel good. I done washed them 80 times. They haven't faded, they're great. That's the best PR you're going to get. And you can't pay for that because that was authentic. It was because I felt good about it. So for me, working for the YMCA, we started with nothing. We eventually wound up telling the story, doing some good work so that other people could tell other people about it, bring in other people to support the work that we're doing because it was so good, and build a $1 million facility out in the Bay Area. And now I go to that same location and it's a whole lifestyle center. So the last time I was out there in Oakley, California, the mayor was like, "Oh, I got to take you by. You got to see." But it started from an idea. And then it became a mission and a movement. And now it is impacting many lives out in this community.
For sure. Congratulations on that. That's a powerful story, powerful impact. That's amazing. So thank you. Thank you. Being someone who used to be in the YMCA and knowing how it, one, impacts the lives of people, not just young, but adults as well, who get access to a facility that they might not have if it didn't exist. It is such an important organization, one, but to know that there are certain places where funding doesn't happen in different areas. And I could go and look at it and have no idea the history, right?
Yeah.
And be like, wow, this place, they're doing it. I had no idea what came before. And that is what happens a lot in legacy work or work where there is this, you see this finish. I don't think there's ever a finish line or anything like that as long as you're still here. But you see this product here, this big building here and all this stuff, and you have no idea that it started from being in a basement. That's big. And it's an important story to tell. It's important for people to understand that there is evolution and scale in most everything that we start out in. And I think
Yep.
one of our biggest issues, especially folks now with social media, which is mostly smoke and mirrors, is that people don't see the work that came into what you now see as a success.
100%.
Yeah, yeah. I was just thinking about this actually earlier today, and I said, success that is only
Yeah.
optically successful, knowing that there are people in the trenches still, that you still haven't arrived where you really want to be, but optically people just assume that it is what it is. That's dangerous, especially for the person who is still in it and in the work. And what do you think people misunderstand about PR, messaging, or visibility before they work with someone like you?
Getting media coverage is going to change their life instantly. And once they do it or they land a great article or TV spot, then their work is done. Like, absolutely not. Not only is it not done, you're just beginning. And you have to continue. And you have to continue to produce. And you have to continue to put out good work so you can get continued coverage and show your growth, because those are the stories that then send people to your website. The optical success is, I think, a really big faux pas. Like, yeah. So you saw the moment they got that coverage and then people called, but they might have got coverage before that and nothing happened. They might have got coverage years before that and nothing happened. Because the truth is, you have to continue to build your story and put out good work and be consistent.
Mhm.
It is rare that there's a one hitter quitter. It is rare that one time and I'm on Good Morning America and now I'm a millionaire. Do you know how long they've been doing that in order to get that coverage?
Right.
And people miss the mark on that all the time. They see the success, but they don't see the work. Even my YMCA story, it was like, one of the things I don't talk about often is how I was working for an agency in Oakland, traveling back to the YMCA, working there at night. One night I got out of the building because I had to do my own market research. We didn't have money. I was working late. When I came back to my car one night, somebody had busted my window open and left a note in the window and said, "Go back to where you came from." Because I forgot to tell you the part that it might have been faux Black people in this whole city at the time. And I couldn't get the police officer to come out and do a report. He was like, "We are not doing that." I feel like I was like, where am I? This is not America. No, it was. But then going back to figure out, okay, I'm not gonna quit. I'm gonna keep going. And then telling stories, how we started getting small media pickups. And then the TV cameras came out. And then the reporters were coming out. I didn't have to beg, right? But they only saw the big. They never saw the small and the battles. It's not a one-time shot. It's an effort that you are committed to doing, because especially now in this moment, you have to be committed to the work and not be performative. Folks are recognizing, I don't know, let's see.
Yeah.
Let's see if she real. She keeping it a buck, or if this is just one shot for some publicity.
For sure.
Yeah. But that one time thing, yeah, that's a dud.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely is. How have you seen this work evolve over the years? You talked about your big age. I'm right there with you. Respect to us Gen Xers who've seen some things and been through some things and experienced some things. So how have you seen just PR in general shape over the years since you started?
Well, the digital landscape is definitely changing everything. Even going so far as it used to be SEO and now it's AIO or AEO, the search engines, right? So social media, people fought it for so long, fought it. And once they realized, okay, I'm going to have social media. Because if you get a media hit, who are you going to share it at? Where are you going to share it? Also, people need to get to know you in order to get those hits, because that is actually a pathway to showing how you've evolved as a company, as a brand, as an individual. So once they started, well, I do need it, then they're behind. Then it's SEO. Okay, I guess I do need it after they're so far behind. And now they want to catch up. And now it's AIO. So it's how you're getting found on social media now. It's how you're getting found in the digital world. you have to have a digital footprint. Essentially, that's the biggest change is you have to have a digital footprint. You cannot remain anonymous or hidden and then think that someone is going to want to cover you. It's not going to happen because they don't believe you.
Yeah.
They don't believe you are who you say you are until they've seen a body of work that shows this is who you are consistently over time.
Mm.
So being able to prove what you're saying has to be one of the biggest evolutions in PR because you can buy coverage, right? That's the other thing that's changed a lot is all of these guaranteed media coverages. Hey, just letting y'all know that's not PR, that's actually advertising or advertorial. There's a lot of that popping up now. But more people seeing, I do have to have a digital presence. I can't just hide away and one day tell people who I am and think the media is going to come running. You have to understand the digital landscape.
For sure. And it is challenging, and you're speaking to me. I'm feeling convicted in a lot of ways, and I don't like I don't like it. Yeah. But it's real. Fought social media for so long just because I'm like, I hate it here. Legitimately hate it here. But what I learned was that, okay, and you gotta do the work. You gotta be out there. You gotta connect in a way that says, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. The work will continue. As much as I don't want to be here and tell y'all none of my damn business, because who is you? I'm out here. And I recognized at some point that I was a public figure. Oh, shit, I didn't even realize that. Okay, so what is that responsibility? Tell me now so I'll just start doing it. Because otherwise, I'm a public figure still in my individual mindset. And it doesn't work that way. Learned it the hard way, that it doesn't work that way.
Learn the hard way.
Yeah. A lot of missed opportunities, a lot of, hey, is my mic on? Yeah, it's been on, but you ain't been saying nothing. Recognizing that it's on you. If it's going to be, it's up to you. And so I definitely respect that. It is challenging for people to do, even to this day. But again, when we think about the duty and the responsibility of the work, that helps it to be a little bit easier because you're doing it for the purpose of creating. So often, we center ourselves. Like, I'm all up in the way of what actually needs to happen for the work to work. And I think that is one of the things that a lot of people get mixed up as well, is that they're not here for that. They're here for you. And understanding who you are is how this moves. Nothing else. Full stop. They're here for you. So yeah, for podcasters and creators trying to grow, what are the most common mistakes you see that cost them opportunities, if there's anything else? Because you laid out quite a few already.
Fear. And I said that before, but even with podcasts, oh, I can't say that, or oh, I shouldn't say that. Why? If it's what you're thinking. Because people want to get to know you, not your persona. I think building a persona is an issue because eventually you're going to get tired of it.
It's unsustainable.
It was just like I put out a thread today and I was like, is it just me or is it, I'm tired of these AI generated images. I'm over it. Like, hello. And the response has been crazy. I didn't expect that. I was just having a moment where I think I saw something and I was like, oh. I said it. People agreed with it. Lets me know. If it's not authentic, eventually folks will be tired of it. It's okay to be yourself. It's okay to speak your mind. Okay to have honest conversations as long as you are also open to, you might be wrong.
For sure.
And it's okay from a PR perspective. It's okay to have a stance. So many people are trying to ride the line. One, it's annoying, and two, it's not authentic. You can have a platform and be creative and be open-minded while you are still true to yourself. Mm-hmm. But trying to ride and straddle the line is just going to get you hit.
Yeah. Hit and swallowed up what everybody else trying to toe the line as well. When you think about media training and speaker training, how it can take someone's platform to the next level, what does that training actually improve in real terms?
It improves your confidence and your steadfastness to your message. What is your message? How do you stay on message? How do you express your message even if you get thrown off script? How do you connect your message to your target audience? How do you adjust that when your audience adjusts? That is the essence of media training, speaker training. Whether you're speaking on a stage in front of 1,000 people or 5,000 people or 100,000 people, or you're speaking to someone on a mic at a podcast, what is your message? I saw, it irritated my soul recently. It was like somebody was criticizing Tom Brady about being a Fox commentator because he's also part owner of the Raiders. It's so biased when he's talking to these players, and that's not right. So he shouldn't even be interviewing players because he's a part owner of the Raiders. And I strongly disagree with that. Why is that? Because if you're the player and you've agreed to be interviewed, your job is still to be on message. It has nothing to do with the interviewer. Mm-hmm. They need to have their own media training. But for the most part, your job is to stay on message with what it is you're trying to convey. Whether it's about your game or your strategy for the day or who you are as a person, no matter what that person across from you says to you, your job is to be on message and deliver that message. If you are in an audience and you're standing there to give a lecture or to give a talk, if the mic goes out, hell, if the lights go out, if no one shows up, if 5 people show up, if too many people show up, your job is still to focus on the message that you are sent there to deliver without getting shook, because you know what you're talking about. You know how to stay on message. You know how to pivot. You know how to circle back. You know how to close it out strong. You know how to have a call to action when we're done with all of that. But your job and how to complete your job is the essence of media training and speaker training.
Yeah, for sure. And a lot of people post content, fewer build credibility, which is what this conversation has been around. What's the difference and how do you help clients cross that line?
Well, building credibility, obviously, is showing your body of work, right? It's not just saying, I am who I say I am. Yes, you are, but you need to show me why you are this or why you are pivoting to go into another direction or what. It's like when someone comes out and launches a brand or launches something, they might have a body of work, but why would you believe me? What are the other things that you have done to show that you are trustworthy, that you are authentic, that you deliver results, that what you say is what you mean? There's various different ways of really showing your credibility in a space. And I think how you put that on display, sometimes without even saying it, you don't always have to say, I am this because I did that. Just show it.
Yeah.
Show what it is. Show your work and put it out there. You don't always have to say it with your mouth. There's other ways to do that. Or you tell a story. That's the other piece about storytelling that people don't embrace completely, is tell a story about something you've done and how you've impacted others. That shows you're trustworthy. That shows you know how to deliver results. It might not even be in that genre, but there is proof of your impact in the world. So being able to tell those stories or put that on display is really where the work comes in at.
Yeah, for sure. And how do you battle? And you spoke about it earlier. I remember Maya Angelou quote from her saying she doesn't trust anyone who is modest. So shit, okay. How do you battle humbleness? It took me probably the second year or the third year of the conference before I was able to get out of my throat chakra that this was the first conference for and by Black podcast creators and audio professionals in the world. I thought, you're doing too much saying that, right? You're doing too much. Don't say that, even if it's fact and it represents the reality of it. That's saying too much about who you are, too much about what this is. And and it took work. As much as I would tell a coaching client, like, what are you doing? For myself, I'm still in this mindset of, don't do too much. You know what I mean? Don't say too much. How do you work with people when it comes to that humbleness that is, quite frankly, pushed in us through the socialization and education and stuff?
Couple of different ways. One of the things, I like that you were a coach, a life coach. I was actually an athletic coach. I'm very competitive. So it can become a battle of wills. Finding people's triggers is really where that comes from. What motivates you? Why are we doing this? And I've literally, why are we here? What are we doing? Who are you doing this for? But finding triggers is a way of motivating people to do the hard work. One of the reasons people don't like to kind of boast about the things that they do is, well, that's inbred in us. So let's talk about that. Who did this to you? I mean, it's not what's wrong with you. It's what happened to you. How did we even get here to a point where you want this type of accolade, but you don't want to do the work or talk about the things that you've done to be here? And then it's also talking about what you've overcome, because not too many things worth celebrating didn't come with struggle or resistance. And it might simply be talking through what you had to do, what you had to overcome, how you had to pivot, how you had to be strategic to get to a place where you were able to accomplish this thing that we're now going to talk about or share. And again, then back to the trigger. Why are we here? What is that about? Is it your kid? Is it your parent? What is it? Somebody you lost that has you doing this work? Where are we right now? What are we doing? And why are we doing it? I think identifying triggers is one of the most important things, and that's the early on work that you do. But then it becomes about focusing in on the hurdles, on the obstacles, and all the things they had to do to get to the point to where we're celebrating. Because you wouldn't be celebrating if it was just handed to you. That's a gift. Not too many people just celebrate gifts. Even if it's a ring, what'd you have to do to get it? Tell me, I want to know. But really, it's about triggers, and it's honing in on what you've had to overcome to get to the point to where we're celebrating something or announcing something, or even a launch. What did you have to go through emotionally to get here, to building this brand, to launching this thing? What happened? A nonprofit usually is a result from something happening or somebody seeing something that then allowed for them to put an organization together to serve. Well, what's the problem that you saw where you decided, I want to service this?
For sure. Thank you for sharing that. I just have a few more questions for you. I'm going to let you go. And it's been such a great conversation. I appreciate it.
I'm glad we got to have it. This is long overdue.
For sure. Thank you. What shifts are you noticing right now in creator needs, audience behavior, or the media landscape that people should be adapting to?
Back to reality. Like, folks are getting back to reality. I think the AI piece of it, and I'm just talking about in the immediate changes that I'm seeing, is it's been fun. Okay, we rode that ride. Now let's move on to something else and get back to real people, being back in person, authentic connection. We've allowed for our devices to divide us. I think people are starting to really recognize human connection it's needed. It's essential.
For sure.
It's not optional, especially with creatives. It is not optional.
These are facts. And when I talk about AI with folks, clients, people in general, it's like all roads should always lead back to you. I don't care what you generate through AI, because the fact that it does help you move more efficiently, it gives you things that you may not have had if you didn't have it. However, if all roads don't lead back to you authentically at some point in your real work, then we have a problem. We're missing a step here. So yeah, Absolutely. It's back to our point. Like, the representative cannot stay there all day. The representative will eventually fade out. And now who am I and who are you once the representative goes away? Because it's going to go away. It's not sustainable. For sure.
100%.
Yeah. Last question, and this one is going to pull right into how folks can find you. wherever you are. You're sharing real speaker opportunities in your Control the Narrative newsletter. So let's talk about that, including TEDx. What should people understand about getting booked that they usually miss?
It's specific. Be specific about the problem you're solving or the idea that you're sharing. The hardest part about all of this is we have so much going on in our heads. We have so many things we want to say, and we have so many problems we want to help the world solve, and we have so many things. Oh, so many things. But getting booked is about solving a problem or speaking about an idea or a thought in a way that it's relatable and actionable. How are you going to help somebody with this problem, identify the problem, and then make it relatable and make it actionable?
Sure.
What are they going to take away from this?
Yeah.
How is that going to immediately change their life? And when you're able to put that in words and message, you're going to land the opportunity.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not that exact opportunity. I've been passed over many times. And then they'll come back to me later and be like, hey, now we're working on this. Would you still be able to do that? But I was specific in what I said. Maybe that they just didn't need that message at that time. But trust and believe, if you are out there in this world and you're solving a problem in an original way, if you have an original thought, so trying to use chat and copying off someone, that's not going to do it. It's your idea, what's original and what is authentic to you, solving a problem, crafting that idea, and messaging it out. The messages and words matter. Facts matter. I know we're living in this upside down world right now, but for people that make decisions like that, they do still matter.
Yeah. Yeah. It's about finding those cornerstones of messaging, story, self, that you can build off of. But to your point, there's so much external noise, so much external measurement, all of these things that we allow to drive the car, drive us, the ways in which we move and exist and represent ourselves, that is convoluting the message. And so you're so right. And I thank you for sharing that. And I thank you again for this conversation. So what do you want people to subscribe to, follow, or check out first if they want to learn how to communicate with more power and clarity, and more importantly, to connect with you?
Hey, slide on over to Control the Narrative newsletter on Substack. It's free. And I'm not a gatekeeper because I can do nothing with this information once I die. So come get it. Okay? Come get it. And if you need me for anything else, Sand and Shores, very consistent on all platforms, or Tonya McKenzie PR.
Awesome. It's been a pleasure. All of that information, your links will be in the show notes. I really appreciate your time and your effort and your work. So thank you so much, Tonya.
You guys have a great one.